It's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
It's hilarious because I didn't know we were going to start. Are we live? We're live. Hey, it's Topic Thunder. And you're with us and we're with you. And I'm Brooks. That's Ben. You're listening to Topic Thunder and watching, I guess, too. That's the only way to do it here. And you are the Thunderdome, the Thunderheads. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're brimming with activity over here. And we just kind of stumbled into a little bit of a podcast. So welcome aboard for the usual hijinks. Just to get the housekeeping out of the way, go ahead and find us on your social medias. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. And of course, there's the Instagram, which we all kinds of fun and weird things get posted there too. So that's the Topic Thunder Podcast at all your social medias.
Yeah, by the way, Courtney normally would joining us from Facebook is joining us from Twitch tonight. So for Hayden was on Twitch one time. So we have another. Give us if you can, any feedback on if it's any different there. Or, but thank you, because actually, if you watch it on Twitch, it helps us actually get on like the Twitch feed if people are watching live and interacting. So help us out.
Speaking of, like, of course, you want to share some of that that linkage with your friends on your social medias. Just let them know that you enjoy the show and that we don't it might not be what you think when you hear Brooks and Ben are doing a podcast, and to come on in with an open mind and join for the good conversation we like to have here.
Indeed. So without further ado,
oh boy, I just sent you the link for this. Yeah, so check this out over the Thanksgiving holiday. And I'm still getting over my cold, not COVID cold, just cold. Aunt Chris was over for Thanksgiving and brought to me a bottle of whiskey, a Japanese whiskey, apparently. So Kaio? How would you? I would say
Kaio, because usually Kiai in Japanese is Kai, right? So I would say it's Kaio.
So here is that, and we're going to give that a shot. She swears, and this is the signature 43%. This is the tasting notes describe a delicate.
So it's the one on the right on your screen, the black label. If you
the signature 43. Delicate nose with vanilla, ripe dried fruit, and hints of cherry with long lingering finish. That's how I like to describe myself after the first date. So we're gonna try this one.
A long lingering finish, you will. But yes, there you go. So let's get the taste test. What do you think?
That is actually real. That is smooth.
Yeah,
that is actually a really smooth whiskey. Has
we should get like a star rating kind of deal, right? Like, is it out of 5 or is it out of 10? Should we do a scale? Like
5 would be easy, I think. Easier.
Yeah, so it's 5. Let's do it on a scale of 5. 5 being best, 1 being worst. Where would you put that?
See, that's tough because, like, what am I measuring against? Because
against other whiskeys that you've had, as far as how you would rank them.
This one's not that bad. Actually, it has that kind of sting,
how many
a little bite.
Bolts? How many lightning bolts?
Out of 5 lightning bolts, I give this one a crackling 4, probably. Let me. I can
again because I'm going to talk to Ma Jordan here because she asked the question in the comments. How do you get on Twitch? It is just a different website, a streaming service website. The kids use it these days for video games. Brooks Bolts. Yes, how many Brooks Bolts do you give the drink? I think we're onto something here. Of course,
we need like a dry erase board behind me with like just how many bolts, the B in the center. It's very flashes too. No, actually, yeah. You know what? I'm going to stick by a 4. It's for a Japanese whiskey, it has the bite, and there is a lingering finish. That there's like a tingle that usually accompanies like an Irish whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that. There is some of that, and there is like a nice bouquet. Like if you like this sort of thing, my mouth feels very happy and pleasant right now.
Ooh, there you go.
Yes, it's very nice, very nice, smooth whiskey. So how about that? How about this? Boy, we got some news to talk about, and we got some really cool science stuff. And I guess we could talk about the really crazy, terrible school shooting, then followed by some manhunt for some crazy parents. But did we not kind of expect this to happen?
Yeah.
Wasn't this almost like inevitable?
Yeah, the story is not that entertaining to talk about, quite frankly, because we'll have another one just like it in a couple of weeks, probably.
Sadly so. So I didn't really want to get into it because it's really a sad commentary on who and what we are and where we are right now in our country, and that's kind of, I don't want to talk about it. It's disgusting to me. So we're going to talk about something even crazier. How about this one from The Independent? Russia and China are attacking U.S. satellites with lasers and jammers every day, says top general. China will overtake the United States in a space race by the end of the decade, General David Thompson warned. This was 3 days ago. He warned us. U.S. satellites are constantly under attack, and China may be the dominant. Okay, so I already got that. The threats. Oh no! Oh, I have to register for free. Oh
yeah.
Fudge.
I had to take the link off the. You got to look at the links ahead of time, man. There's tricky like that. These news sites make you. The New York Times will also do that to you, and I'm not fucking paying for the New York Times.
Oh, see, I have a subscription. Okay, so that all right. So I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. But
nevertheless, it's just another story of China and Russia fucking with our shit in a way that doesn't involve putting boots on the ground.
Well, because it's funny you say that, because I was going to roll that story into the next story from the Daily Mail, which I did scroll through and read all of. This one is what we've been talking about, how there's something peculiar happening on the eastern border of Ukraine. And by peculiar, I mean terrifying, where satellite images reveal new camps of Russian soldiers near Ukraine's border as the U.S. warns Moscow will be ready. Let me repeat that. Moscow will be ready to invade with 175,000 troops in weeks. And a Kremlin calls relations with America lamentable ahead of a very important summit between Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden. I believe Tuesday is the phone call. So satellite images have shown not only just troops, but like armor, tanks, artillery, like supply lines. They have satellite photos, and I believe this is the story. Yaha. So if you scroll through the story, it'll show you, because I'm a big fan of maps. I don't know who's you're.
Maps are good to illustrate things,
to give you a perspective, right? Because we could talk about something, and unless you're going and Googling what it looks like in Ukraine, we have a very honest and almost scary picture of what's going on right now, and how these 175,000 troops and various equipment.
So I'm bringing there was some ads I was trying to get rid of. Okay, this should give a pretty clear picture here. Is this what you're talking about?
This is exactly what I'm talking about. So if you look to the north, where the Putin's good friend in Belarus, of course he's going to allow all kinds of troop movements. It doesn't matter, right? That's just as good as a new part of the Soviet Union, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what Ukraine is looking at. This is what we're talking about. This is not just, hey, we're doing some military exercises out here, guys. This is a threatening posture with the moment's notice phone call, full on invasion.
Yeah. And it breaks down the numbers here. One of these little, soldier guys is 700 to 900 men. So we're talking about thousands of troops, gathering around the border here, and then they're not doing that for no reason, right?
With all of the other equipment, the helicopters, the submarines,
330 aircraft. What do they need that for?
240 helicopters,
75 ships and boats for what? What are they? You know what I mean?
And
like
6 submarines.
Up to 94,000 troops, it says here.
And with again escalating and scaling up to more. So it's important to note the two areas that we'll call Russian occupied, the lower south east right there, Donsk and Rostov. So
Underneath
those are
this military buildup thing, right?
right. So that kind of right next to that like sign, right next to the top left of the battalion sign, those
Yeah.
two areas kind of like reddish. That's actually Ukraine. What the Russians have did was that kind of shadow hybrid invasion where they got enough troops in there, but the troops wearing black fatigues, no markings, wearing full like, armaments and backpacks and everything. And they kind of said that there's a large Russian presence in that area of Ukraine. So the Russians are protecting them.
Huh.
The same excuse that if you look directly south of Ukraine, the Russians gave for basically annexing Crimea. And if you're any kind of strategist and any kind of like, oh, I used to play Axis and Allies as a kid, Risk, any kind of strategy game where you see like where you can control a port right there, right? If you control that peninsula, there's a port on the east right there that entire section of the country will have no longer have access.
Right. This whole like lake, if you will, for lack of a better way to put it, would be cut off if you had access and you could control this little part right here.
And not to mention the ability to set up all kinds of bases from that area and easily supply those bases from the water, so you wouldn't have to bring things across land, however, because that obviously would prove very difficult at that point. So Crimea is basically a military base for all intents and purposes, much like Belarus is, and much like the map doesn't go this far, but like we've discussed what's going on in Poland and on the border there with Belarus, Kaliningrad, which is kind of northeast of Poland, is also just basically a Russian military outpost. So you're sure, is this flexing? I mean, it's a weird flex, right. And this important summit that's going to be happening here with Biden, but you're reading in the news media that Biden's going to offer, tell him like, you better behave, otherwise we're going to put these sanctions on you, like, or what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what exactly is the follow up to that? Like, sanctions is about the limit because you don't have the what's the right word I'm looking for here, for lack of a better term, backing of the American people to get into a boots on the ground war with Russia. Like, that's not anything that anyone here is remotely interested in doing.
And same with this is where NATO is supposed to come in, right? And this is where you would expect, Germany, UK to a lesser extent, but France, obviously, and Poland is always, again, Polish here, and always have like held that fort that is Europe together. They're ready. Like, Germany needs a nudge. France says a lot of fun stuff, but where are you?
I see what you're saying. And maybe I'm not, but what you're saying is we've done so much as far as helping NATO when they need help that now we're looking for them to return the favor, right? Like, help us out here and take care of this on your own. Is that what I'm feeling, or no?
No, not at all. Because I don't want to be confused with the former guy, because that's basically how he got us into this predicament. Because for 4 years, all that guy decided to do is drive a wedge between us and our alliances in Europe, in NATO. He was saying those things. He was saying, why isn't everybody else paying up like we're paying up? Why you people need to spend like we're spending? Otherwise, we're going to back up. And that scared a lot of people. That damaged our reputation. And it weakened those alliances, which was a goal of Putin. That was a goal of this entire thing. It's not just like, bang or plant flag. It was.
I see what you're saying now. It kind of, I wasn't really understanding that until now. Like, what my brain wasn't really taking it all in and understanding until now. What you're saying, that's why he cared. That's why Putin cared, because he just wanted Trump to go in and fuck with NATO. On any level, on every level,
and disturb America. He knew who he was putting in there. He knew he was going to do all the dog whistles and all the race baiting, and he knew he was going to divide.
Putin was the one that was like, why aren't these other countries helping you well, when you do so much to help them, what like the subliminal suggestions in their talks, right? Because they were talking quite often from what Trump was bragging about how much he was talking with Putin, right?
Right, and just take a look at how that entire gang there works, right? It's about it's about power, it's about control, it's about messaging and saying the right things. But like it's also like this again, we talked about the long game, right? And how good the Russians are at this. This was no like chance of opportunity. Dare I say this was engineered to be this way.
Yeah.
They got a guy 40 years ago. And they got him good. They got into him. They got their hooks in good. But the guy, because he was perfectly chosen, was all for it. Because all the guy wanted was to look powerful and to look like he had a lot of money and look he controlled people and could do whatever his sick, twisted mind could do. And the epitome of a mob boss, right?
Yeah.
Without the actual like taking care of your actual family instead of passing your daughter around like a joint to a bunch of pedophiles, which we'll get to later.
Good, because we've been kind of avoiding it, but now the trial's ongoing, and we got
the trial. Where's the trial going to start? Nobody's covering it, Ben.
Well, we're going to cover it because now the trial has started. Yeah.
So the reason I never meant to be like hyperbolic about like the threat presented by Russia, because I think maybe we played that part up a lot and didn't really cover China. The other it's because Russia has been actively like what they call active measures, like actively poking the bear, where China's been kind of sitting back and going, I'm going to collect my strength. We're gonna do things diplomatically, if not like we're gonna try to set up these alliances, and they're big in Africa, and China's making big headroads into South America too. So China's happy to do that, while Russia's happy to poke the bear and try to reconstruct the old Soviet Union in some quest for glory that was never really there in the first place. Right. So I just point out that this is not just I don't think a warning or some like threat. I think this is very ominous. I really do, because anybody who knows their history knows that these big world wars don't necessarily start with just tanks rolling across the border. They start with something less, maybe a little less evil or a little more innocuous. But all it takes is one person to be shot across the border wearing a certain uniform, and that's it. That's all we're talking about here. Because just if history teaches us anything, like this is just not good. And I don't know what's going to come of this phone call, because I don't know that like cutting Russia out of the world financial system is a threat to Vladimir Putin.
Right. I just don't know what Joe Biden what leverage he has to make any demands. Right. I don't see it either. So.
He would sanction the inner circle, whatever that means, and try to freeze up money, limit travel. But what they would ultimately do, in a way the government, and especially Putin, would probably spin this, is that this would be the United States attacking the government of the United States, attacking the Russian people. Because that's who it really would hurt if we clamp down and cut Russia out of the world financial system. Well, Putin, they've been hoarding crypto for years.
Right, exactly. They're fully prepared to be cut out. Yes.
Yeah, they're ready to. Oh, how are they going to pay for the war? Do you know who owns all that Bitcoin?
Yeah, Russian oligarchs. Yeah.
Yeah, like it is. So this is a huge story. This is a bigger story. This is history, right? This is what 40, 50 years, hopefully from now, people are reading our side of the story and going, wow, this was crazy. Look at this buildup. How did they not see it? Well, because it's this slow crawl over 5, 6, 7, 10 years, but like it goes off like a flashbang sometimes too, right?
Yeah, the end. Once all the pieces are in place, it takes a long time to get the board set up, right? But once you get the board set up, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to put you to your opponent in checkmate.
Yep. So, and speaking of being in kind of check, at least, let's talk about Miss Giselle Maxwell, and the trial that is and that should have been basically Jeffrey Epstein, because let's face it, like that's who they're really trying to
the heat for him, right?
Yeah, that's who they're really trying to get here, posthumously and through vicariously, I guess, through Giselle Maxwell or Ghislaine. Sorry, Ghislaine.
Yeah, it's Ghislaine, right?
Ghislaine, right? So let's.
Is it, Ghislaine. Ghislaine is what.
Is it Ghislaine?
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. See, this whole thing is goofy. This whole thing is goofy from the start. You can't trust people like that.
Well, look at Jeffrey Epstein. He's goofy.
Oh,
he's like a muppet.
He's like a rich muppet. The face is weird. It's like long, right? It's like somebody like stretched that face out, like stretched the forehead up, and like if you did like a create a character, you're like, oh, look at this chin I'm gonna make.
He looks like the guy that would like you would make to be like the evil
Ghislaine
guy.
Yeah, it's just so some of the details of the testimony have come out now, and I don't know if anybody's really following this because it's truly horrible. But what the prosecutors are trying to allege is that Ghislaine Maxwell, Miss Maxwell, is basically not only the business partner and the staunch number 2 in whatever business dealings Mr. Epstein had, but that they were also partners in sexual partners, and that there's no way, absolutely no way, she can claim that she didn't know what was going on and about his abuse of minors.
Yeah.
That's the gist of the prosecution at this juncture, right? So yes. I believe they've called...
Gigi puts it perfectly. She was grooming all these girls. She was the one that was basically going out and finding these girls, and she would be the one that would approach them. And all right, if you're gonna do this, here are the rules. Here are the ground rules, if you will. So she was, and based on some of the testimony we've already heard, and I don't know if you're going to get into this, but I would assume you are. But there's one woman testified that she not only, helped introduce her, but also participated in like a threesome with them, which was like 14 years old.
Multiple reports that not only were there 3-way sexual assaults, but that Ghislaine would also just individually assault women too. So we're nowhere near the end of this, and I'm not really sure where this honestly goes, because we've already seen some of the names being described and everything. Yes. But like
a lot of Prince Andrew, a lot of Bill Clinton, some Donald Trump dropped in there, Kevin Spacey, weirdly like astronauts and shit too.
John Glenn, when you sent me that text, John fucking Glenn. Come on, maybe he saw some shit on the moon. He's like, "This is the way," but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, dude. That doesn't seem right to me. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mean to hijack.
What did those astronauts see that they came back and went, you know what? Fuck.
It's funny because I got a story about that too later on.
Perfect.
So, yeah, I mean, we can. The story that I have here, and I'll be frank and honest with you. I'm not in depth on this story maybe as much as you are, so you could take the lead if you prefer on this one. But I was really more focused on like the Ukraine and Russia stuff.
No, this trial is in the very, very early stages at this point still, and to be honest, a lot of people's names are getting dropped. But even like John Glenn, it's not being alleged that John Glenn did anything. They're just, a lot of these names are being mentioned they were mentioned by the pilot of like people that he remembered being on the plane going and associating with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know that you can say every single person that associated with Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and was in on it, but I would say they all knew, right, and were aware and just kind of turned the other way and didn't look at it, but knew it was there, and that's bad too, obviously.
So I just got a text from Aunt Chris, who on our timeline of messages at 7:09 said "fucking Russians" and got suspended by Facebook and can only listen, can't comment.
Tell her to go to Twitch. create a Twitch account and find us on Twitch, and she can comment and everything there.
There you are, Chris. There is the solution. There are no problems.
So there you go. Just go to Twitch, sign up real quick, go find us, the Topic Thunder podcast, and you should be able to find the stream and participate right away.
All the more reason to really start seriously considering ditching the old FB, to be honest with you.
Maybe.
What is it? What are we doing? What are we doing? I mean,
Sure.
there's got to be another alternative, for God's sakes.
You would think it's just hard to get to a lot of people.
Right. And like at this point, like you got friends all over the nation, maybe even over the world. It's the only place to see kid pictures. And that's the only way I remember people's birthdays nowadays. Like,
Yep.
So, yeah, I get it. But Facebook is bad. Facebook has harmed our democracy. They're very, very dirty. Very, very, oof,
I think that's her.
there she is. Oh, I know it is. Sardonicus for sure. I know that one.
So welcome to the chat, Aunt Chris.
So this from Truth Out, this might surprise you, but I thought with Thanksgiving, kind of in a rear view, some of these stories were percolating after the holiday. Believe this or not, the tribe that helped pilgrims survive for their first Thanksgiving regret it 400 years later.
No shit, Sherlock.
In Plymouth, Massachusetts, overlooking the chilly waters of Plymouth Bay, about 36 tourists swarmed a park ranger as he recounted the history of Plymouth Rock, the famous symbol of the arrival of pilgrims here 4 centuries ago. Nearby, others waited to tour a replica of the Mayflower, the ship that carried pilgrims across the ocean. And on a hilltop stood a quiet tribute to the American Indians who helped the starving pilgrims survive. Few people bother to visit the statue of Osamakwikin, the chief or sachem of the Wampanoag Nation, who once numbered somewhere between 30,000 and 100,000. And whose land once stretched from southeastern Massachusetts to parts of Rhode Island, long marginalized and misrepresented in the American story. The tribe braced for what's coming this month as the country marks the 400th anniversary of the first Thanksgiving between the Pilgrims and the Indians. The actual history of what happened in 1621 bears little resemblance to what most Americans are taught in grade school historians.
Surprise.
There was likely no turkey served. There were no feathered headdresses worn, and initially there was no effort by the Pilgrims to invite the Indians to the feast that they made possible. Just as Native American activists demand removal of Christopher Columbus statues and push for the transformation of Columbus holiday into an acknowledgement of his brutality towards indigenous people, they have long objected to the popular portrayal of Thanksgiving. For the tribe and many other American Indians, the fourth Thursday in November is considered a day of mourning, not a day of celebration. Because while the tribe did help the Pilgrims survive, their support was followed by years of a slow unfolding genocide of their people and the taking of their land.
And this is one of those stories that infuriatingly is taken by conservatives that are wanting to inflame other conservatives. They take this, like, this is an honest portrayal of history, but conservatives would much rather us just not acknowledge that and just keep with the story that we've been teaching in school for all these many decades. And we're not in that place anymore as a society. I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday of the entire year, right? I look forward to it the most. But honestly, we should probably give it up. It's a terrible thing to have remembered, and for it to have taken this many decades for us to realize, guys, we're like honoring something that was awful. Like the first people that landed on this continent, the first Europeans, I should say, that landed on this continent are not people to be like lauded and applauded. Excuse me.
They're brutal people.
They were horrible people that subscribed to this idea of manifest destiny, that it was their God-given right to take whatever land they felt was theirs and make it their own and claim ownership of that. And their government would defend that ownership of the land. It's a preposterous idea, and was only be able to be done because they had guns and the opponents did not.
Pretty much. And the pushback on this, it comes from some weird, like, white guilt, right?
Yes.
So deep down, any truly good person kind of knows, right? But they don't want to feel blamed for it, right? Yeah, because I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't there. I didn't make this. If it was me, I would do it that way. So they don't want the blame, which to a certain extent, the way I'm going to slice it, you might let me finish. You'll see they might not want the blame, which is fine, but we bear the responsibility because it was our government that did it. It was done in our name. And we have the resources to kind of do the best to make it right. And that doesn't mean like giving them land and casinos.
Right.
Like, it means giving them respect and teaching an honest history.
And maybe rethinking things like the Redskins team names, you know, and things like that, the Indians. And it's slowly happening, right? And it's rethinking Columbus Day, right? It starts there. And then the next thing is we're going to start honing in on Thanksgiving, and we're going to have to make some changes about Thanksgiving. Like, yes, I understand. I love the holiday. I love the food. I love the football. I love all of it. But I'd be willing to give it up knowing that we're celebrating something that's truly awful. It's not something to be celebrated.
I don't think at this point, I'm just being realistic, I don't think you can kind of put it back in the box and be like, oh, that's it. We'll figure out another holiday and
we'll rename it and we'll
re-image
stylize it, right? Yeah.
Rebrand it. We're gonna rebrand it.
Exactly.
But that's what it is, right? And the long and short of it is like, and it needs to be more in line with the sacrifices and the history, the true history of the people that were here before any Anglo-Saxon touched ground, right?
We should definitely rename Indiana. We should just annex it and just get it out. Go do away with it. Actually,
actually, CJ, let Courtney, let's go. I want to hear some ideas. Like we're gonna
start rattling them off. I'd love to hear.
We're gonna do a draft. best new Indiana name draft right now. Top 5. Throw your picks in. While you're doing that, let's talk about some of the cool things that our tax dollars are paying for. Let's talk about how we just found out how cancer cells replicate so quickly. Shall we? On the heels of Pfizer actually going to apply for human trials on we've talked about it with a cancer vaccine, an mRNA cancer vaccine. Here we find in a study how cancer cells basically hijack the power system of a healthy cell, take it into itself, and do something extraordinary with it. Okay. So right there, if you scroll down and just show that picture, that is obviously a micron telescope showing you healthy, those are cancer cells. What that long stringy thing is going across the, oh no, incognito mode, hello. So that long stringy thing is a nanotube.
Okay.
And what they found is that the cancer cell kind of comes up to a healthy cell, deploys a nanotube to connect to the other cell, and basically sucks out the mitochondria of the healthy cell, which is the power generating portion of the cell.
Holy shit.
After this happens, and this is a quote, significantly, cancer cells consume oxygen around double the rate and reproduce more often when they are placed in contact with T cells for 16 hours compared to a control group of cancer cells that were grown in the presence of T cells but were physically separated. So not only are they healthy cells, they're immune cells, they're T cells, which are specialized cells that actually can fight and kill cancer.
Interesting.
The cancer gets to them, basically takes the power system out of the cell, and then goes on hyperdrive for 16 hours, replicating its own self. And that's how cancer spreads so quickly. is it's not only is it destroying healthy tissue and healthy cells and your own immune system, but then it's going ahead and using it as like a power up for 16 hours to like pump out more cancer cells that are just going to do the same thing.
But this is, honestly, in a weird way, like a weird way to look at this. This is what all those cancer research funds and all the money that's poured into research into cancer. This is the shit that you find out. It may take many, many years for scientists to figure it out, but that's what happens when you pay for research into things. We are now closer to figuring out how it powers itself. Now, the question is, how do you stop it from doing that fucking nanotube? As Billy Wack points out, we need to kill those fucking nanotubes. So that's what fucking science is going to focus on now. If that's how it's spreading faster and that's how it powers itself, there's got to be some way that we can get in and cut that nanotube off before it can get to the fucking next cell, right?
So that's exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for the findings should be verified using more specific tools to block nanotube formation and mitochondrial transfer, because they have this drug apparently that's it's called the PD-1 blockade. Which is basically, yes, it's stopping the nanotube production. So yes, Billy Wack, right on. It basically, yes, Ryan Hansen, it hacks the cell. It is a virus, right? That hacks your system, gets in there. This is the size of things we're talking about. Is like nanotubes, like I think they say the nanotubes are between 50 and 2,000 nanometers wide. Just for a reference, let's find out what a nanometer it really is. And let's see how. Okay, so the crazy nanotube from the cancer cell is between 50 and 2,000 nanometers wide. A human hair is between 80 and 100,000 nanometers wide. So that's the scale of things we're talking about here. That's how small, 5 nanometers. Your hair is at least 80,000 nanometers.
Wow.
5 nanometers.
Okay, yeah. Perspective is hard to wrap your mind around immediately, but yes. Holy fuck.
It's like this, they're like these little tentacles that come out, just like search for like healthy immune cells and attack and overtake them. They just rip the heart out of the thing, like Mola Ram in the Temple of Doom, and use it again, power up for 16 hours. Like, this is crazy that we found this out.
It is crazy that we found this out, and it does feel like we are much closer to having a legitimate cure for cancer. Right? You hear everybody joking, like it's used almost as like a punchline. Well, if you could cure cancer, people would still hate you. Kind of, that kind of shit gets thrown around. That kind of saying gets thrown around. But there's a legitimate opportunity here that in our lifetimes, we may see the ability to cure cancer before it becomes dangerous in people.
A vaccine, dare I say. And then we're really going to be put people up against it then. All the anti-vaxxers and the people are saying, well, why haven't they discovered they haven't fucking cured cancer yet? All right, here it is. It's one shot.
Yeah.
One shot. Here it is. This is it. This is what you wanted. I ain't taking that. I don't trust. I don't know what's in that. They put dead baby parts in there, and there's just the mark of the devil. It's nanotubes. How about nanobots? Have you read about that? They're 5G transmitters in there, man. They're gonna
birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real. I read that too. That's great. Birds aren't real. Like it won't end with those people, even if you tell them like this is gonna stop cancer. This is it. This is it. Here it is.
Ryan Hansen puts out, they won't cure it, they'll treat it. Right, that's just it. And we'll be able to treat it where it won't be killing as many people as it is currently.
I mean, eventually, yeah, it does. It feeding on the mitochondria is a big deal. Like, that is like, if you look at them like they're like, if this is like a space movie, right? And you're the happy-go-lucky kind of truckers and across space, and all you want to do is bring your cargo from one spot to another, right? But you got to pass through this dangerous area where there's this swarm of alien drones that they're going to connect to your ship and start sucking all the power lines. And if you get caught, Yeah, they're to suck all. You're dead. You're gonna die in space, cold and dead, and that's what we're talking about. The cancer cells, right? They're just swarm that's gonna come and suck the power out of everything healthy, and obviously, we've all been touched by this in one way or another, so we all know the results.
Yes.
So,
By the way, birds aren't real is a real thing. It's a real movement. There are really people that believe birds aren't real. They believe that they're like cameras that are recording everything that we do. And I swear to you, I'm going to track one down and we're going to interview one. We're going to interview a believer in the birds aren't real movement.
he's not joking. It's like this is the show joke. April Fool's
Nope,
way
I'm
off.
gonna find one and we're going to talk to him because this is something that we have talked about privately, and this is kind of a perfect time to jump it in there. We've wanted to add this idea of doing some interviews into the show, and it will actually probably be pre-recorded interviews that we'll do with different subject people that have written books that we think are cool, stuff like that. And I really want to interview. I'm going to try my best to track down a birds aren't real person to come on and convince us. Tell us why birds aren't real. Convince me. I'm willing. I'm open-minded about it.
And I'm here for
I've
it too.
never seen a bird really, really up close. I don't think. I don't know.
Oh, you've never had like a bird like sit on your arm or anything like the petting zoo or something like that? No. My friend Steve, for my last job, just came back from, I think he was in Iceland, and he's got like video of him, like he went to like one of those falcon ears, and he's got that ginormous fucking impossible glove on, and like there's like the falcon, like, and he's like the falcon's listening to commands and launching from his arm and like coming back, and he's feeding it. Like I didn't know Steve was so good at CGI. I don't know. But more science.
Yeah, more science. Love science.
How about this? They found a stem cell based treatment that produces insulin inside of patients with type 1 diabetes.
Holy fuck.
Check this out. This is actually really, really cool. So as I get to what they've done is they're taking stem cells. So really quick refresher for the folks way in the back. Stem cells are like precursor cells. Stem cells could be turned into any cell. So anytime a cell develops, it starts as a stem cell, and then its instructions code it to form into, you're going to become cardiac tissue. You're going to become a bone tissue. You're going to become a neuron. You're going to, well, you didn't make it. Sorry, go away. So stem cells are like the very base blank. It's like a blank disc.
Originally, right? Because so there's the controversy that you'll hear about this, and why many conservative people are, especially Christian conservative people, are against this, is because, and I don't know that if I'm remembering this correctly, and if I'm not, and please correct me. If I'm remembering correctly, stem cells originally were harvested from aborted fetuses, but they are no longer, that is no longer how they create stem cells. They've moved past that, so it's not done that way anymore. If I'm not,
I believe it was actually I believe it was from the uterus, or I could be mistaken too. I'm not.
It was something, but it's not done that way anymore.
Stem cells can be harvested from anywhere in your body. Any part of your body that makes cells, the cells start as a stem cell. So they've kind of taken these stem cells, they implanted something, and I'm trying to find a size right here because it's remarkable how small this thing is.
Norm Rich, my buddy Norm Rich, asks, are they flat earthers? I bet you the birds aren't real people. There is probably a large segment of them who are also flat earthers. I would bet.
You'd have to imagine that for sure, that there's like,
you're willing to believe that birds aren't real. It's much easier to believe that the world might be flat.
It's a hell of a Venn diagram is what it really is, to be honest with you, Rich.
It really is. There's a lot of crossover there.
There's a lot of crossover there. So they implanted this thing that is 7 centimeters long, which is like 3/4 of an inch, maybe a half an inch, and no thicker than a credit card. It contained millions of lab-grown cells that originally came from a single stem cell line that were coached into maturing into beta cells. Beta cells are responsible for making insulin, a hormone that controls a person's blood sugar. 6 months after the implementation, the researchers observed that the cells had not only survived, but successfully matured into insulin-producing beta cells, helping the patient's body sense the blood sugar levels and release the insulin when needed. the patients in the study, because they were doing a very small amount of these, the patients in the study spent 13% more time in their target blood sugar range, and some were able to reduce the amount of insulin they injected. So now they're encouraged by that. They're going to go much bigger, and they're hoping that this proves out that they could get people off of insulin, period,
That
with
was huge.
a infinitely renewable source of stem cells that could turn into beta cells that help people produce and regulate their own insulin.
You have to imagine that in the boardroom at the pharmaceutical company
Oh yeah.
that creates insulin, they're looking around and they saw that story and they went, fuck, we got to stop this. We got a lot of money, guys. How do we fucking stop this? Because that ruins everything. Because you hear a lot of talk about the costs of insulin, right? Why is because it's something that a lot of Americans are on. A lot of Americans rely on insulin injections to maintain their health. And the prices of it is outrageous especially, and it's almost egregious and a spit in the face when you compare it to what it costs in other countries. It's like, what's the fucking difference between costs in Germany and costs in America for the same fucking drug from the same fucking company? But that's where we are. That's what happens when you privatize and monetize healthcare. This is the kind of shit that happens. So yeah, I imagine they don't like hearing this research at fucking all. That they've got to be nervous about it. Gotta be.
So this particular, these two sentences right here should actually do all of that and more. Quote, stem cell based treatments hold incredible promise as there is virtually endless supply of stem cells that could treat type 1 diabetes. A single vial of stem cells, the size of your baby finger, could theoretically be expanded and converted into insulin producing cells to treat everybody on the planet with diabetes. The size of your pinky. One vial of stem cells could treat everybody on the planet.
Wow.
That's it. And infinite resources. Not from dead babies.
That can't be controlled, right? Yeah, right. Infinite. Yeah.
Infinite. This just the type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease, which a person's immune system attacks the pancreas, degrading its ability to produce insulin. The disease affects approximately 300,000 Canadians and nearly 1.6 million Americans. This study was done. Research was done by the Vancouver Coastal Health Research Network, along with British Columbia University.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah, thank you, eh?
Yeah, that's tremendous. Like that, this is why we need to be putting more resources into science, not war, not other, international relations, into science that's going to make Americans healthier, better people. We're going to cure cancer. We're going to at least treat cancer. We're going to do away with type 1 diabetes. I mean, come on, we're that far along. We're going to cure type 1 diabetes. That's happening, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we're this far along. That's incredible. Great. What else are we capable of?
Well, let me tell you, because we're not done with this sciencey episode of
science. This is a very science-driven episode of. I like it.
I've got my favorite one coming up after
this
one.
Much less ranting from me.
Yeah, I wanted to. I think the news. We need to take a break and see.
My throat kind of hurts today. I'm coughing, so it's better that I'm not ranting.
I'm telling you, it's the cold that's not COVID. It's going everywhere, and it's gonna be called something else. We're gonna find out about in 6 months. We're gonna be like, oh shit, it's gonna turn my hair blue or something like that.
I've had a head cold for a minute now. So.
This has been going on now like 2 weeks.
I thought it was allergies, but maybe it's not.
There's some kind of bronchitis, cold. Like we spent so much time like hiding and putting masks and the lockdowns and everything. So now that we got out, the cold's like, all right, fuckers, I've been waiting for you. Like, Corona, what?
Yeah, maybe that is.
So this is the one that I sent you that has a video, right? So this is from IFL Science. And this story is about a Croatian architect has created a beautiful piece of architecture that merges the modern city with nature and playfulness. His incredible sea organ. Let me repeat that opening really quick here. That's not the end of the sentence. His incredible sea organ graces the coast of Zadar in Croatia. The city was heavily bombed throughout the Second World War by British and American planes, and as the war ended, a rushed reconstruction of the city took place, causing many of the once loved spaces to enjoy the coast's natural beauty to fall into neglect. The architect wanted to design something that could bring to life the desolate concrete and return the creativity that the destruction of the war lost. What he did is created what's called a musical jetty, and he finished it in 2005. It covers a stretch of more than 70 meters. That's 230 feet. The work was made possible by drawing on experts from many different fields, including engineers from craftsmen, even a professor of music who tuned the pipes correctly. So the dude basically turned the washing waves of the ocean into an organ. Like, not like a organ of the body or like, hey, here's my organ. No, into like a musical organ, like a pipe organ, like a theater organ. So is that video, if you want to give that a shot.
We got it up. Let's check it out. That's crazy. It's pretty incredible.
I knew, Biz. I knew you'd love it.
Play Crocodile Rock.
So that's varying strengths and waves of the wind enter these spaces. The air is pushed through a series of 35 polyethylene tubes of different diameters. At the end of each pipe is a whistle, tuned to play 7 chords of 5 different tones.
That's awesome. That's genius. Really cool. Love that.
That's pretty neat, right?
Indeed. Very cool. Again, creativity and ingenuity, right? Like, who'd ever thought to turn waves into a musical instrument? And it's cool. And kind of tying back, and we've kind of repeated this over and over, but this is another example of, if you didn't have to work 9 to 5 at a job to pay your bills and put a roof over your head and feed yourself and your family, what might you do with your time? And yes, this isn't like earth shattering. It's not a cure for cancer. Honk, honk. But it's still something cool and like creative, and it doesn't add any value, but it's still something that is cool.
Oh, I think that adds value.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't return. It doesn't make money for you. It's not an ATM machine. You know what I'm saying?
But it would. I want to go.
Sure.
Right. I want
not. Yeah.
Like I already wanted to do it in Croatia because I watch a Mediterranean. I watch a Below Deck Mediterranean. So I'm a sucker. I already need to go to Croatia. So
comments here. Ryan Hansen, that would be annoying as fuck if you lived there and heard that 25. It would be like, oh god, all right, enough.
Imagine the timeline if you could like take pictures of that person like every 3 days about how they felt about it.
Also, Courtney, when the sea gets angry and all you hear is Pantera.
That'd be great, right? What would it sound like? In a
storm, what does it sound like, right? I bet that's different. Like when the waves are really crashing, does that change the music? I wonder.
Having played the clarinet for a good portion of my youth, you can change the way a note sounds depending, but it's an extraordinary force and it just kind of gets more sharp. But like once you have your fingers pressed on whatever, valves or buttons or whatever, like that's where the air can't go.
Gotcha.
So that's what makes the sound, right? So like it just gets more distorted. I don't think you can actually change the actual, like, it's not gonna you can't, if that's playing a C flat, it's never not gonna play a C flat.
Makes sense. I'm not musically inclined enough to know, so that was a totally ignorant question for me to ask, but thank you for answering it.
Yeah, man. We watched the marching band in the Macy's Day Parade too, from New Lenox, Illinois, the arch rival of Lockport Township High School. Lincoln Way High School was marching during the Macy's Day Parade. Good for them, because that's really awesome. And they probably had the best. Go back and look it up. It's worth watching because it was super cool. Like that's what a marching band can do. That was really fun. There was a costume change. There was they get one song. They get one. They probably got 75 seconds. Like that's the way, just the way the parade's moving, right? And they grabbed it by the short hairs. So
that's awesome. Also, if you have never seen it, the Ohio State band is very famous for their formations and the way that they're able to like incorporate formations into the songs that they're playing, and like it's really impressive. We may, if we get a chance, maybe I'll try to find that video and play some of that here at the end of the show.
Hey man, anytime you want to do a marching band, a dedicated episode of Topic Thunder, I'm in, because I was that guy too. Bass, clarinet. Yep, I was in marching band and did some cool stuff, man. You laugh all you want, but like, sure, it wasn't football and all the glamour, but I also don't have all the brain trauma either. And I basically learned another language and how to read a sheet of music. So
sure. I wish I was more musically inclined. I did not ever get involved in that, and that's one part of me that's just not there. So
it's cool. I'm grateful for it, although I didn't appreciate it while it was happening. Right. I wasn't as vested as some might not be in high school when mom and dad tell you that you're gonna play this.
Right.
But I wanted to get to this one story here. It's my favorite story because it's the coolest story. We're talking science, very.
I thought yours was going to be that Donald Trump had McDonald's delivered to.
No. This one's about a warp drive. Whoa. A for real warp drive. And of course, it's brought to us by our good friends at DARPA. But apparently, warp drive pioneer and former NASA warp drive specialist, Dr. Harold G. Sonny White, has reported the successful manifestation of an actual real-world warp bubble. And, according to White, the first of its kind breakthrough by his Limitless Space Institute team set a new starting point for trying to manufacture a full-sized warp-capable spacecraft. So this gets pretty theoretical into the science, and you can start reading into it yourself. I had to stop because I was highlighting too many things to like read up on, like what's a Casimir, what's a custom Casimir. Like they can start getting this stuff, right? So here's some bullet points, right? In '94. Mexican mathematician Miguel Alcubierre proposed the first mathematically valid solution to the warp drive. More specifically, he outlined a spacecraft propulsion system previously only envisioned in science fiction that can traverse the cosmos above the speed of light without violating currently accepted laws of physics. The only problem with what he proposed is that he envisioned a time of theoretical materials and massive amounts of like free energy, right? But he made the math work. So he basically said, hey, if you can figure out how to fuel it, how to build something that's not going to rip apart like the minute like it hits like top speed, here's how you do it.
Right.
So this guy Sonny White, changed the formula and made those two variables workable. And now what he's done is on a very, very minute level, but he's created a warp bubble. And if you're a fan of like, because I didn't really get into a lot of this in like Star Wars.
I was gonna say, isn't Gene Roddenberry basically responsible for this even becoming a thing? Because would these guys even been investigated or interested in it had Gene Roddenberry not created Star Trek?
Exactly, because they got they got into it, right? Star Trek tried to explain the warp drive. There was that they have a history. There's canon behind like who developed it, how they developed it, and why it was important and everything. And Scotty was the engineer, and like there was always a problem with the warp core captain. And they focused on that kind of drama and that essence as opposed to Star Wars with like basically the Skywalker family drama. So you got a lot more like gritty detail and theoretical physics from the Star Trek side, especially when like the Next Generation came about. Then it was like here it is, like dong on the table, like, hey, we like science. Here it is, right? They're legit talking like theoretical physics as like, oh yeah, remember when this guy created like this idea and like this became that? Like, well, we're in this moment that like this dude created a warp bubble. So the warp bubble, in my very, very crude and rudimentary understanding of this, mostly backed by Star Trek movies and television shows, is that if you create a bubble in like, let's just call it space, it's going to pull whatever is behind it with it.
Okay.
Right? Because it's some massive distortion of reality that it basically slices or imagine this, it slices reality, the time-space continuum. It slices it that it could bend reality and bend the universe. So if we're here and if I'm here and you're here, by activating the warp core, we can slice through and bend around things to meet. It gets nuts. It gets crazy, and it's really hard to kind of like. These people are so smart. They're the creepy people that like you're so smart. Okay, I'm sorry.
The Big Bang, you guys. Yeah,
that might be a little weird, even, or maybe very normal. Who knows? But like they're so vastly smart that this just seems very, very commonplace and very, very like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. For us, it's like, wait, what? You're time space, huh? But This guy did it. He did it in the lab, and it was so successful that they're willing to move forward in a bigger trial. And I don't mean like a starship or anything like that, but they're going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. If they can keep creating this bubble with and they used a 3D printer for some of these parts to build this thing, right? That's what we're talking about here. The implications for this are literally space travel. And I don't mean like, hey, we're up in space. Hey, we're coming back down. No, I mean like gone.
Wow. That would be incredible. I mean, this is like the most mind-blowing episode of Topic Thunder ever. We're curing cancer. We're curing type 1 diabetes. We're creating time warps. What
nanotubes.
We're nanotubes. All kinds of
we're doing risk and chess up in the front. Like, well, let's talk. All right, so we're talking about space, right? Let's talk about things that have their own gravity because they're so massive. Let's talk about our former president and his BMI and his body weight. So earlier this week, it was revealed that Donald Trump, our former president, number 45, had COVID. Knew he had COVID.
Right. Well, that was reported. Yep.
Went on to take numerous meetings, including a dinner with 5 Gold Star families, which are people that lost loved ones in the line of service. And went to the hospital, received the world's finest care, including a round or two of Regeneron, the monoclonal antibody for COVID. And once he started feeling better, started ordering McDonald's to the hospital to eat. That's what you want. That's our president. He wanted McDonald's. And there's a couple things
the worst option of fast food. The only time I'm ever going to McDonald's is for either breakfast or the McRib. That's it.
So the couple of interesting things, and I honestly think they buried the lead on this one because they have Trump's standard order.
Okay.
And I know there's some people.
I'm looking at the picture here, so I bet it's probably what's in this picture here.
No.
Oh shit!
This is according to Corey Lewandowski and David Bosey. So I would assume those two dudes know because they were probably the jerks having to.
I was gonna say they were sent to get the fucking order. Yeah.
Corey, give me my order. Corey. Trump's standard order at McDonald's consists of 2 Big Macs, 2 Filet-O-Fish, and a chocolate shake.
Holy fuck!
That totals almost 2,500 calories, or 1 day's worth of calories for a normal grown-ass man.
Listen, I like to eat, but I don't know that in any sitting I could, at age 41 now, I could eat 2 Big Macs, 2 Filet-O-Fish, and a McDonald's shake, which, by the way, is basically just ice cream. It's not even a shake. It's so thick. It's just basically ice cream.
Yes.
That's insane.
He's also reportedly a fan of the breakfast, which he was known to eat during the presidential campaign. And he was known to serve, obviously, we've seen those famous pictures of serving fast food at the White House on occasion.
How much of the breakfast did he eat? If he was eating 2 Big Macs and 2 Filet-O-Fish, he had, like, the breakfast sandwiches are much smaller. So he had to have eaten like 6 Egg McMuffins. Like,
So
it must be crazy. Like 3 regular Egg McMuffins, 3 McGriddles, and a large fucking cappuccino or whatever their fucking shit is. I don't know.
For the breakfast, I'll do 2 sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffins. Give me 2 hash browns. I'll do that. I'll regret it 2 hours later.
But I love it. Every minute of it.
Oh yeah, I need a nap. Gigi will
my
attest to it.
I don't even really care for the egg and the cheese. Well, all I care, I get the sausage biscuit,
It's so good.
excuse me, the sausage McMuffin,
Okay.
and the hash brown, and you put the hash brown on the McMuffin.
Oh,
Just get after it. So
oh god damn it. All right. Game on, Ben. I also want to point out 2 other things here.
when Billy Wax says he won't eat 2 Filet-O-Fishes, that man will eat almost anything. I've seen it.
That man loves a Filet-O-Fish too, but there's a red line, right? There's a line in the sand right there. Right?
One of those bitches. Like,
Seriously. And yeah, let me wash this Filet-O-Fish down with a Big Mac or 2. Come on. Two other things in this story that I thought were noteworthy. The former president reportedly loves fast food in part because of a long-time fear of being poisoned. Michael Wolff wrote in his book Fire and Fury.
No.
Right. So like he has people walk in and get him whatever he wants. And it's not like, oh, Donald Trump's here. Like he's ordering the steak, like, super well done. Like, yeah. So, and this one gets in, this one tells you the caliber of psyche that we were dealing with as president. He also reportedly believes that McDonald's is cleaner than many other restaurants. You, sir, have not stepped into a McDonald's lately. And I'm not trying to trash McDonald's, which I'm sure the people do a wonderful job, at least attempt to do a wonderful job. But brother, let me tell you something. You ain't been to a clean McDonald's in Decatur at 2:30 in the morning because it doesn't exist.
Right.
You walk into that bathroom at your own peril.
Like, he should know better than that. Yeah, he's got the ability to get any fast food. McDonald's is widely known as the worst fast food option. That says so much about Donald Trump, doesn't it?
And we were just talking about this, a convening of CM Venom and Billy Wack and myself the other night, that like McDonald's was the only fast food place, burger joint that didn't offer bacon for a long time on the
very
menu.
long time. Yes, they did not succumb to the bacon.
And come on, like really, do you know delicious? Like I had Burger King because it was the bacon double cheeseburger. You gotta give me some bacon on that stuff, right?
Have you seen the movie with Michael Keaton about the McDonald's guy?
Oh,
Founder is what it's called.
No, I haven't, but I heard it was.
It is fantastic. Michael Keaton is amazing in it. I would definitely recommend it.
There's a huge Michael Keaton wave coming. Like we got a lot of Michael.
Buckle up, buddy. A lot of superhero Michael Keaton coming at you.
Holy shit, he's gonna do the Spider-Man thing, so he's in the MCU, right? They're gonna do like another take on Batman with him, like as an older version of that Batman in '89, which is just mind-blowingly insane.
Unbelievable! I can't fucking wait. I can't.
Right?
Wait. Please get me old Jack Nicholson as old Joker too.
But he's supposed to have died, right? Because Batman let him fall to his death, and Batman doesn't kill people, which is one of the huge tenet problems with that fucking movie. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, driving around machine guns and blowing up stuff or innocent lives. Never mind. It was one of his things. He didn't kill people. All right, Tim Burton, I'll wring you by the neck. God damn it, Batman does not kill people. Rant over. So I wanted one bit more science before we move on to the next segment here on the show. And this is from The Guardian, which is actually a pretty nice website. They offer a lot of their stuff for free, and you can throw them a couple bucks if you want to. I have, because I think their stuff is really interesting. A little bit frightening, too, because China has modified their weather to create clear skies for a political celebration.
Whoa.
Researchers say Beijing used cloud seeding to create artificial rain and lower pollution in July, and latest example of blue skying efforts. Wow. And again, I have to register to keep reading, but this is not new for the Chinese to try to modify their weather to clear up some of the obvious terrible smog and pollution. In fact, at one point, I believe they still have multiple ginormous LED walls in like their squares in like Beijing and other cities, that even though like everybody's wearing a mask because there's so much smog in the air, these LED walls, like you can't see the sun. It's just like this diffuse orb in the sky. Like they get these clear skies on these LED walls everywhere to remind you, like, this is what it looks like underneath this cloud of poison.
Gross.
So, I was hoping that the story wasn't so I don't know. I kind of.
But the idea of changing the weather, like that, is so talking about superhero. It is so superhero villain to have something that changes the weather, right? It sounds very diabolical.
And it sounds like if you wanted to, and you had the ability to control the weather, one could theoretically call down a lightning storm and start the next segment of the show, which we affectionately refer to as the lightning round. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Thunderdome. The Thunderdome, where I read 3 headlines. They enter. One headline leaves and gets read, and we do that story. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the world's most popular Choose your own adventure.
It's like a choose your own adventure book on a podcast.
Choose your own news adventure. Here on Topic Thunder, we call it the lightning round. Look at that. Look at look at that. That was 100 messages right there with that last lightning bolt. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right to it, shall we? Headline number 1, sent to us by the lovely and talented Yo Adrian.
Excellent.
Woman caught breastfeeding cat on Delta Airlines flight.
I'm glad she submitted that. That's so good. That's insane.
Headline number 2. Maryland homeowners burned down their home while attempting to rid the house of snakes. And headline number 3. Italian man tries to dodge the COVID vaccine jab using a fake arm.
I saw this headline today. That's insane. That's so great. I love it. If anything beats story number 1, I'm not showing up next week. Let's just put it down.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to read those headlines one more time and get your votes in. So, headline number 1, a woman caught breastfeeding a cat on a Delta Airlines flight. Headline number 2, Maryland homeowners burned down their home while attempting to rid the house of snakes. And headline number 3, Italian man tries to dodge the COVID vaccine jab by using a fake arm. Those are your headlines in the lightning round, ladies and gentlemen. So as you think about that, please also remember to, if you just let your friends know that we do this lightning round where we kind of we do have this kind of fun, and it's kind of a fun, lighthearted end of the show kind of thing. And, while you're making your decisions, that's all. Just saying, spread the word, right? So
Mama Jordan going with number 1, Biz voting for number 1. But you'll have to look up the fake arm one. Yeah, I agree. I was on the border for number 1, but come on, fake arm. This is tough. I agree with you, Billy Wagons. It was made tough, but come on. A woman was breastfeeding a cat on an airline, ladies and gentlemen. What are we talking about? How are we not talking about this to find out more about this? And Chris going with
we're moving. Oh, look at Ryan Hansen. You're just a talented motherfucker, is what you are. That's all you are.
No arms, no harms. That's awesome. Amazing. Ryan Hansen. What is made? He's made an addition to the lightning round because now you and I are looking forward to his like headlines of the headlines, right? Like he has made a segment for us while we've made a segment for them. It's so great.
That is fucking brilliant, sir. Kudos to you, man. I gotta figure out a way to get you involved in the show. If you,
it is number one in a pretty much a landslide.
It is number one. So let's not dilly dally, ladies and gentlemen. This is from everythinglubbock.com. Woman caught breastfeeding cat on Delta Airlines flight, officials said. A woman on a Delta Airlines flight began to breastfeed her cat during a flight and refused to stop when confronted by the crew. According to Newsweek, the incident happened on a flight between Syracuse, New York, and Atlanta, Georgia. The now viral message posted on social media shows a screenshot of the aircraft communications addressing and reporting systems message from the pilot to the ground, which says required red coat meet AC packs. Okay, so it's a seat.
Trying to find this picture.
So it's some airline jargon. Passenger in seat 13A.
Here it is.
This is the pilot, right? So
oh my God, here it is. This is amazing.
Passenger in seat 13A is breastfeeding a cat, and
holy shit, ladies and gentlemen.
The flight attendant has requested.
Hold on. Dude, I'm bringing it up. Give me just a second here. So look at this.
Redcoats are elite airport customer service experts, according to Delta, who requested to meet the woman once the plane landed. The flight attendant, Ansley Elizabeth, who allegedly was on the flight, added on TikTok on November 13th, the woman had one of those, this is the worst, right? The woman had one of those, like, hairless cats swallowed up in a blanket, so it looked like a baby. Her shirt was up, and she was trying to get the cat to latch, so she wouldn't put the cat back in the carrier. And the cat was screaming for its life.
Oh my God.
That's
Danny Dominion with a great question. Isn't that animal abuse? That sounds like animal abuse to me.
Having the fact that they're still breeding hairless cats is animal abuse in my eyes, in the first place, right?
Like, what the fuck? You're that cat cannot be happy about its life.
Like, simple question about pets. Can that animal survive in the wild?
No.
Okay, forget it. You've just done a disservice.
A hairless outside cat.
Nipple abuse.
Ayo.
One does not start lactating out of the blue. Right, Danny, that's a good point. Like, what was she lactating?
Why?
Because you only lactate when you're pregnant, right? I mean, I'm sure. Like, I've seen some videos, I don't know, on the internet where people are doing stuff like that with their boobies. Yeah, but I don't know.
And I'm with Billy Wack here. Obviously, this doesn't just happen on a plane. What else happens with this one? I want a full documentary on this woman. I want to follow her home. I want to see what her house looks like. I want to see, because you can imagine what the house of a woman who breastfeeds her cat on an airplane, what her house looks like. It is probably a shit show.
It's probably 723 jealous cats is what it is at that point. Or
like Cat Lady, it's going to be on that show fucking Hoarders because she's hoarding hairless cats.
So the last two sentences. Delta allows passengers to bring small dogs and cats as emotional support animals into the cabin during the flight, but they must stay in a carrier under the seat in front of for the entire flight. And this is the best. Delta says they have seen passengers interpret emotionally supportive to mean comfort turkeys, gliding possums, snakes, spiders, and more.
It really is getting out of hand, the emotional support animal thing.
Comfort turkeys.
Comfort turkeys.
Mr. Brooks, I see you're boarding today. What is that? That's Ralph.
Comfort turkey.
What do you mean? That's Ralph.
They're so gross to look at, and they make such horrible noises. Like
it's just he's just looking around. I got a leash on him, of course, because I'm civilized. But I'm like, it's Ralph. That's my comfort turkey.
I'm civilized. Oh, Gigi says you're her comfort turkey.
I am, and that's just a nice thing.
By the way, guys, shout out to Yo Adrian. Don't fuck with cats part 2, right? If you haven't seen part 1, go out of your way. Have you seen Don't Fuck with Cats, Brooks?
No.
Oh my God.
No.
You and Gigi need to immediately, like as soon as we sign off here in about 30 seconds, go to your television, go to Netflix, and go to Don't Fuck with Cats, and like give up the next few hours of your life. It's amazing.
All right, that's all right. Entertainment for the evening solved. And well, we certainly hope that was an entertaining evening for you all. Of course.
How could you not be? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Of course, we always like to end our show by expressing our heartfelt gratitude for everybody who participated, listened, and shared, and told your friends and your mama about it. Mama Jordan, hi, happy Thanksgiving. And you mean the world to us. We love this thing. We love doing this thing. We love this community that we built here. So,
by the way, Biz knows they didn't make a part 2. She's saying they should make a part 2 about that guy, that woman.
Oh, Biz knows about it too. See, Biz knows everything. So Biz has got a finger, his pulse on the world here. He's a good guy like that. So yeah, thanks for listening to Topic Thunder and participating, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next Monday for some more Monday Thunder. But of course, follow us on Facebook, on the Twitch, which some of you are on now. And speaking of breastises, oh wow,
Nick Cutler does need to wear a shirt. We were going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about that. Nick Cutler, should put a shirt on.